The Cubs are back from an off day and they take on the Royals this weekend for 3 in Kansas City. But the trade deadline is rapidly approaching. What teams might be interested in what the Cubs have to offer? Cody Bellinger, Jameson Taillon, Nico Hoerner, maybe even Justin Steele, or some of the other relief pitchers that might be on the table. That and more on this edition of the Cubs Baseball channel. Make sure to like and subscribe. Get in that comment section. Let us know who you think the Cubs are going to trade and what you might be asking for in return. That and more on this edition of the Cubs Baseball channel. Here is your invitation to our show. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Cubs Baseball channel. My name is Anthony Pasquale. You can find me on Twitter at ant_Pasquale3. Thank you guys for following me and engaging with me on there. Also, you guys can find the Cubs Baseball channel on social media as well. We are available on Twitter or X, however you prefer to call it, Instagram and TikTok. We post some clips from the YouTube shows. We're going to be asking some questions, some polls, those sorts of things. So find us on there, engage with us on there, follow us on there, and be sure to be ready for when we post some more Cubs content in some different places. But guys, we've talked about this a little bit over the last week. Jed Hoyer has basically said that the Cubs are not going to be making moves with 2024 in mind. That means they could be buying, they could be selling, but whatever they do, it's going to be to try to position themselves to win next year and in the future. So that means 2025 is where the Cubs have their sights set on. And as it stands right now, they're in last place, 11 games behind the Brewers in the NL Central and 5.5 games back in the NL wildcard. Obviously, some of those teams the Cubs are chasing are red hot right now. I believe the Padres have won 5 in a row after yesterday's no-hitter from Cubs draft, Dylan Cease. Congratulations to him, the former White Sox, who no-hit the Nationals yesterday. So the Padres are rolling. The Mets are hot. They just beat the Yankees the other night. So a couple of teams that are continuing to put room between themselves and the Cubs and make this climb a little bit tougher for Chicago. And that's why you see it right there. The Cubs' playoff chances have slipped all the way to 5.1% with just a 1% chance to win the division. So let's get into some trade talk. We'll start with Cody Bellinger, who continues to heal from his broken finger, should be back this weekend or very early next week. It's not a foregone conclusion that the Cubs are going to trade Bellinger. He's a very complicated piece to trade because he's like a half rental player. But at the end of the deal, he could opt in to the next year of the contract. So let's say you're the Yankees and you think that Bellinger is the piece missing to win a World Series, and you go out and trade for him, but you don't plan to have him in your future plans. Well, he could opt in and become a Yankee for next season and make $30 million at that. So it makes it a little bit more complicated to try to deal Bellinger. But the fact of the matter is, a power bat like that, although the power numbers have been down a little bit, with his defensive versatility as well, is going to be a very attractive option. Some teams that need outfielders, the Phillies, the Braves, maybe even the Mariners, who are looking for a power bat to add into their lineup, are some options for Bellinger, as well as the Yankees, who could use him at first base while Anthony Rizzo is injured and Ben Rice shuffles between the majors and the minor leagues. So he's a name to keep an eye on for some of those teams. High bidders, obviously, because he makes $30 million a year, but he could be a piece that helps a team go deep into the playoffs. I truly believe that. Let's talk about Jameson Taillon. Patrick Mooney of The Athletic reported today that Jameson Taillon to the Astros is an interesting option and a place that is starting to heat up a little bit as the Astros are trying to get a few starting pitchers into the fold to really make a push at another AL West title and try to go deep into the playoffs once again. The Astros are a trendy team for Jameson Taillon, as are the Yankees, who he's familiar with and has pitched for before, looking to add a starter. Similarly, the Baltimore Orioles, who are trying to stave off the New York Yankees in the AL East. They've got Corbin Burns, they've got Grayson Rodriguez, and then a little bit of a drop-off. So Taillon is certainly somebody who's going to interest them. Honestly, Taillon should be of interest to anybody that wants a starting pitcher, because obviously the price might be a little steep, but you get him for this season, next season, and the season after that. So not only is he a short-term answer, but he's a bit of a long-term answer as well. That's also what makes Justin Steele's trade value so astronomically high. He's been pitching like an ace for 2 seasons now. and you could control him in pre-arbitration for years to come. So Steele is a name. I don't have any specific list of suitors because, frankly, every team in baseball should be interested in acquiring a guy like Justin Steele. The Cubs would have to be blown away to accept that offer because if you're looking for 2025 and beyond, Steele is a guy that fits that mold already. So why get rid of him? Why would you try to deal one of your best options for the future just to get more prospects that you won't see for longer? It doesn't make a ton of sense. But if the Cubs are blown away and they love what they're getting back, every player has a price. But that's why I only have Taillon's name listed here. Nico Hoerner is another interesting one. There's a lot of teams that might be looking for a second baseman, but you have to remember Nico Hoerner has a lot of experience as a shortstop and could be a shortstop for a different team. Obviously, the Cubs have the better defender in Dansby Swanson over there at short, but teams like the Red Sox and the Mariners, the Dodgers, might not have their answer at shortstop, especially with various injuries going around their ball clubs. So Hoerner could be an answer there. Similarly to Taillon, Hoerner has control through 2026 as well. So he's a long-term answer at a position of need for a lot of teams. Great contact bat. The Yankees are a team that have been looking to upgrade in the infield. The Baltimore Orioles second baseman Jorge Mateo just recently got hurt. If they decide to not call up one of their many prospects and are looking to upgrade with a more veteran option, Hoerner could be an answer there. And the Cubs can maybe get one of those prospects and get him back into the fold in Chicago. But the fact of the matter is Hoerner's price is going to be very high. The Cubs value him as somebody that can be a part of a winning future. So they're not in any hurry to trade him. But similarly to Steele, if they get the right offer, Hoerner is a guy who they will be listening to. But there are some guys that the Cubs don't have under contract for years on end that they might be looking to move and might be a little bit more willing to move based upon the offers they received for Hector Neris, a guy who has been pretty reliable, had a few blowups, but nonetheless been pretty reliable this season. Mark Leiter Jr., one of the Cubs' most efficient arms in the back of the bullpen. Drew Smyly is pitching to a sub-3 ERA this season. Mike Tauchman has displayed his ability to be a fourth outfielder for a contending team. Good contact, solid defense all around. You could put him anywhere in the lineup. And Patrick Wisdom, that power plays. And if you get him at a lower price, that's a guy that you wouldn't be afraid to take a chance on, maybe in a pinch hit situation or if you need a home run or whatever the case may be. There is some value in guys that crush lefties and hit homers. Those are just some of the names I put down. Obviously, the Cubs have a lot of players that could be fielding offers on. So we'll see what they end up doing as the trade deadline is only 5 days away. But there is a baseball game tonight. The Cubs take on the Royals. It'll be Kyle Hendricks, who's 2-8 on the season with a 6.69 ERA, taking on the Royals starter Brady Singer, 6-6 on the year with an ERA exactly 3. He's been pretty good for the Royals this season. We'll see what the Cubs can do up against him as they continue to try to stack some wins in the win column. Like, here's the other thing. Even if you do trade and you bring up some young pieces and get some new faces in that locker room, the Cubs are still within manageable striking distance in the National League wildcard, where if they were to go on a run, it doesn't have to be before the trade deadline. They could still go on that run that we've been waiting for. I'm an optimist, and I like the Cubs, and I believe that they have some good pieces in place, and they could go on that run. I just wouldn't bet on it, which is why I think the Cubs have to be open to selling some pieces and retooling for next season. But guys, thanks so much for joining us on the Cubs Baseball channel. We always appreciate chatting Cubs with you guys. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and then to like and subscribe and get in that comment section. We always love to read what you guys have to say about our favorite baseball team. But for now, go Cubs.